Jenny's wedding cake. All right, well, it's been a minute, Jenny. I shouldn't say that because you did release the birthday cake buttercream. Haven't quite gotten to it yet. Coming soon, can promise you that. It's in the freezer over there. But she's sneaking some flavors out on us. There's another Whole Foods exclusive that's out. That'll be coming in soon as well. Quite the backlog though, so deal with me. Just deal with me, please. Hang tight. Anyways, let's talk wedding cake. A limited edition flavor, like as the birthday cake was. I don't want to call it permanent. It'll be around a lot longer this year. But the wedding cake, it's limited edition. I don't know how much longer, but it's limited edition. So she gives us this nice little. I'd like to read this to y'all real quick. Pretty nice. It says, ice cream is a metaphor for life. If you're not paying attention, it will disappear before your eyes. This day too will melt away. The flowers will wilt, the music will stop, the sun will come up. But it was never about this date on the calendar, or the flowers and champagne, the dresses and suits, the ice cream, but who we chose to share it with. And I chose you. Thanks, Jenny. All right. A little interesting thing about this description. So it says vanilla cake. Boom, cake everywhere. Lemon. Got your little lemon swirl over here to the side. Blackberries, a little blackberry swirl as well. And buttercream icing, a tiered perfection. What they don't tell you is that this base is a cream cheese base. Maybe that's what she's going with the buttercream icing. I don't know, but clear as day on the ingredients label, cream cheese base. So we'll get into all of that in a minute. Actually, let's get into it right now. It by no means is heavy on the cream cheese. I'm not saying that's a bad thing with this flavor. It's probably actually a good thing. When I think wedding cake, I certainly don't think cream cheese. What I get in the base, and is why they maybe were going for that buttercream icing type vibe, think more milk and cream sweet. Nowhere near buttercream icing sweet, but sweet. But it is a little buttery, which is probably from that cream cheese. So I'll give that to Jenny. However, it doesn't scream cream cheese. That's not a bad thing. Like I said, I think it's best to, especially with this type of flavor, with the cake, with the lemon, with the blackberries, let it be a canvas. Let it lay low. Let the mix-ins shine. Let's start with the vanilla cake, which you can see plenty of chunks here. You ready? Arguably the best vanilla cake I've ever had as a mix-in all aspects, texture and flavor. It is just what you would want in a vanilla cake. Cake flavor, vanilla. I mean, it's just a classic vanilla cake. Screams wedding cake. And that's impressive to stand out amidst all these mix-ins. The fact that they can all gel together, which we're going to get into the rest here in a second, but incredible vanilla cake flavor. Absolutely nailed it to a T. Texturally, it's dense, it's moist, it's substantial. I mean, it's everything you could ever imagine and want in a cake. Flawless. We're going to knock both of these swirls out in one go here, just because they play together perfectly, so perfectly. The blackberry, which it just says lemon and blackberries, but they're both pretty much swirls, two different types of swirls. The blackberry is, let's call it more jam-like, like a jelly. It's kind of gooey, but it's also thinner than the lemon. The lemon, on the other hand, you can see a little spot here. You can probably tell it's more, I know it's not much, but it's more It's gooier. Here we go. It's gooier. Definitely thicker. A little stickier. So that alone is pretty nice, having two different textures, you know, battle it out and play against each other. So not only in terms of the texture, but also the flavor, it's pulling back and forth, and it works beautifully. The blackberry, both of these are natural in flavor, by the way. Natural fruity flavor, whether it's the lemon or the blackberries. But the blackberry is much sweeter. And, as you can probably guess, based on what I just kind of hinted, the lemon is much more tart. So the whole, kind of like a sweet and salty, you got a sweet, tart, sweet, bitter, you know, it's kind of yanking it back and forth. And it brings everything full circle between the cream cheese base, that's a little buttery, along with the cake. It is the, you know, it brings everything together to give you that wedding cake vibe. Well, would you look at here? She actually uses her brambleberry sauce, which if you're not familiar with brambleberry crisp, it's one of her standards, her classics, and it is phenomenal. She uses that as part of the blackberry, so no wonder it's so good. Anyway, let's bring it on home. So, I'm a huge fan. I highly recommend, I would tell anyone to go get this pint and go get it now because I don't know how long it's going to be around. But there are a few flaws, and I'm here to tell you about them. So, let's just call the vanilla cake, the lemon, the blackberry, you heard my spiel. They're flawless. They are absolutely perfect. Everything about them, all of them. I'm trying to figure out how the buttercream is playing into here. I'm reading the ingredient label and I don't really see anything buttercream. You know, I just see the lemon curd, the blackberry, you know, so the cake. But it's a cream cheese base. So maybe that's where they were going with the whole buttercream icing. So here's where I stand. I enjoy the butteriness of the base. That is obvious. And it plays well into the cake. However, it doesn't I'm not getting a full-blown wedding cake type of feel here just because cake needs icing. There's no overly sweet aspect, except for the cake is not overly sweet, but it is sweet enough. There's no overly sweet aspect that you kind of get with that icing. So I think the buttercream icing is kind of misleading, and I wish that were part of the pint. Nonetheless, everything else about this is pretty perfect. So, we're gonna let Jeni's wedding cake sneak in with a 9 out of 10.